This video is brought to you by
Cool Green Clothing. We done gone worldwide, and we coming straight out of Baltimore. And if you in town, pull up on us. We're on the block with it at 215 West Saratoga Street. And if you're not in town, go online right now at coolgreenclothing.com and make your purchase. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way. And that's just basic.
What's going on, YouTube, fam? It's your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of the Baltimore Way, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For my day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you're feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. With that being said, let's get right into the story. Being a teenager is supposed to be a fun time in a young man's life. In them high school years, you have your friends, classmates, probably a little girlfriend, and your whole life ahead of you with endless possibilities. But depending on how and where you grow up at, for some teens, it's not all glitter and gold. You have peer pressure. Around about a certain age, most young men come to a crossroads. They watch their friends they grew up with go left, jump into the streets, join gangs, start playing with guns, or some go right, focus more on school, sports, so they can have a better life than what they see every day outside. And some just play in the middle. Because being that young, all you know is what you see, and you are not even old enough yet to understand or know what you want to do in the world. You only know this is what's going on right now. For some teens, sad to say, nowadays, it's about survival. All over the world, young men are taking a stand, boys will be boys, to a whole nother level. While back in the day, that might consist of meeting up after school, fighting, and getting the issue off y'all chest. Now, it's all about grabbing the guns and sliding. With so much access, you have 14-year-olds walking around with military guns, and they feel like any problem, they have to take a life or crash out. While some outgrow that mentality, unfortunately, others lose their lives or go to prison, and then it's too late. And on this episode of the Baltimore Way, we'll be discussing the case of a Baltimore teen who left school with friends, but they walked into a fatal ambush. Back in 2023, Deontay Dorsey, nicknamed Dink by family and friends, was a 16-year-old boy navigating life being a teenager in Baltimore. Described as fun, always laughing, Deontay was a typical boy. He liked playing the game, hanging outside with friends, sports, and coming from a big family with a lot of brothers and sisters, geeking with them and getting on each other's nerves. The young man was stated to be a good kid who didn't bother no one. He tried his best to stay out of trouble. A sophomore at Emerson Westside High School, he had no shortage of friends. On January 4th, 2023, fresh off Christmas break and New Year's, the kids were back at school. Around about lunchtime, Deontay and 4 more of his friends decided to leave school grounds, bop over to Emerson Village Shopping Center to grab something to eat. Even though it was frowned upon to leave school grounds, the staff usually just let the students go as long as they came back. And the community was so used to seeing large groups walking over to eat, so it seemed like a normal school day. While outside of Popeyes, Deontay and his friends had started walking. When seconds later, 2 masked men popped out the cut, guns in hand, and multiple shots went off as they ambushed the group. They soon fled the scene. Witnesses called BPD to the location. When they responded, they found all 5 teens suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. 4 would survive, but unfortunately, Deontay was hit more than 16 times, and he would pass away from his injuries. Police found multiple shell casings, and people in the shopping center stated the shooters' faces were covered, but cameras in the area caught still images of the shooters, what they had on, and the escape route. The community was in shock. A 16-year-old boy lost his life and 4 more shot just going to get something to eat. It was pointed to as a mass shooting. But no one was more devastated than the teen's family. They claimed he was a good kid who didn't deserve that, and they were heartbroken and frustrated that he was shot broad daylight during school hours. They also stated the school didn't even contact them. They heard the sad news through friends of Deontay. The shopping center was also criticized as they broke certain guidelines that were put in place stating they were not supposed to sell anything or allow students in the plaza during school hours. A vigil was held for the young man, with family and friends showing their love and support, and the family pleading for justice. Still images of the shooters was released to the news, and a cash reward was put out for any information. As time went by, a name of a suspect popped up. At the time, a 16-year-old boy named Dayon Spears, whose picture wasn't released due to his age. Police had evidence and statements from people who knew the young man, putting him on the scene and recognizing the clothes from the pictures. He was picked up, taken into custody, and charged with 30 counts, including first-degree hit and multiple attempts. The family of Deontay were happy an arrest had been made, and one of the suspects was in custody. They spoke out, stating they wanted justice, and another arrest on the second suspect, who at the time was still unidentified. Shortly after the interview, the family's home was targeted and shot up, with over 11 people inside, including kids. Some say in an attempt to keep them from speaking out. Fortunately, no one was hit in the situation, and they were all relocated. Months would go by, and another name would pop up as the alleged second shooter, another 16-year-old boy named Brian Johnson. He was picked up and charged with over 30 counts as well. But as the case made its way to trial, the evidence on the young men, now both 18 years old, seemed shaky and all circumstantial. It was never a motive given, and the jury couldn't come to an agreement, leading to the judge declaring a mistrial. But a new trial date is set for April of this year, and both young men are innocent until proven otherwise. The family of Deontay filed the lawsuit against the shopping center for breaking policies, serving minors during school hours. As of now, the lawsuit is still pending. Rest in peace to Deontay. I send my prayers and condolences to his family. I also pray for the other 4 victims as well, that they can heal from their experiences and trauma of that day. Teens doing what teens do, leaving school to go get something to eat. I couldn't imagine getting a call stating my child was shot when I think they were at school safe and sound. It's not clear what the beef was about between the young men or who was the target. Not saying Deontay was into the streets or into nothing out here, but a lot of times as parents, our kids only allow us to know and see what they want us to. It's unfortunate. These hoppers feel like the only way to be heard or to get their point across is to knock each other off at a rapid pace. I often think how they are in their cycle, like at one point in time, we was in ours. But it's like every generation gets worse and worse. Now the generation under them are watching and waiting on their turn to do them. It's a vicious cycle of pain, trauma, lives gone too soon, parents burying their children when it's supposed to be the other way around. I don't have all the answers. I don't think nobody does. But until something is done to change the mindset of our peoples, unfortunately, more stories like this will play out. But hey, that's the Baltimore way. Man, super crazy story. Rest in peace, that young man. I definitely send my prayers and condolences to his family. But I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. Leave it in the comments. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. It's another episode of the Baltimore Way. It's your boy Tony 2 times. Law&Crime. I'm out.